Hey everybody, Patrick Domingues here. So today I will be running through a tutorial on how to configure the UniFi Controller on Ubuntu 20.04 within a Linode VPS. So from my website, I'll put a link in the description below with the tutorial. So here, there's some prereqs that we need you to get started with, and that would be creating your Linode VPS, making sure you have backups selected, right? Because if you're using this for production, you want to make sure you have your production server secure with backups, right? If you're planning on using a domain, for example, UniFi.something.com, right? In my lab here, I'll be using UniFi.patrickdomingues.com. You'll have to create an A record that's pointing that name to your VPS IP address. So let's go ahead and get started. Go sign up for your Linode subscription, create your VPS, and afterwards log into your UniFi server. That you'll be using with PuTTY. Alright. Now that we're logged in, go ahead, type in your credentials, make sure that your server is completely up to date. And then sudo app upgrade. So you can do sudo apt upgrade. Yes, so bypass it or automatically selects yes for all the prompts. Afterwards, let's go ahead and install the cert. Then you can reboot the server. So all the updates get properly applied, right? We don't want anything to go wrong here. Alright, let's go ahead and log back into your VPS server. Great. Everything's properly applied. Now we can get started with installing the UniFi SDN control panel. Now there's already scripts that were created. This one in particular by Glenn, which I'm very thankful because it makes life a whole lot easier. So here you'll be prompted to keep the script, which I usually just mark yes. Next you'll be prompted to apply updates to the system, mark yes. And then we're gonna have to wait a few. Alright, we're just about to this point. It's finishing up installing the UniFi Controller software. Successfully installed the UniFi Network Controller. Alright, great. Would you like to update the UniFi Network Controller via APT? Yes, please. Great. Thank you very much, Glenn, for creating that script and making our lives easier. So next, we want to make sure that the services for the UniFi Controller run at startup. Next, we want to apply the ports to the Ubuntu firewall. And then we can start enabling those ports and the firewall. Right? Because if we enabled the firewall before we got any of those ports up, we would have been disconnected from the server. Alright, great. So next we are going to be installing the SSL certificate for the UniFi Controller. So at this point you should have created an A record and pointed that A record to the UniFi Controller's IP address, right? So let's go ahead and get started. Let's make sure we have all the updates we need. And then we're going to install Let's Encrypt. Get it going. Here you want to mark selection 1. And then you just follow what they want there. So here they want my email address, sure. Next, just agree to it. Yes. Nah, I'm not willing to share my email. Type in the domain that we'll be using for this cert. For example, for me, and there we go. Let's go ahead and run another script that was created that made our lives a whole lot easier here. Afterwards, we're going to change the permission of the script. And then we need to edit the script and add some fields in there. So here we'll edit the host name and give it that A record name that you wanted to use. For myself, it was unifi.patrickdomingues.com. Let's go down a few here. So we are going to comment these because we're not using Fedora, Red Hat, or CentOS. And since we're using Ubuntu, we are going to uncomment those. And go to LE mode and type in yes. And we should be good. Here you can push Control Q, then Y to save, and push enter. Now let's run the script to import the SSL certificate. So let's wait a few moments while this restarts the UniFi controller. Then what we'll do next is to create the command to auto renew that certificate so it doesn't expire on us, right? We are going to append this and add these two line items, then Control X, letter Y, enter. Awesome. And that completes the SSL certificate portion. So our UniFi controller can get bombarded with logins, right? And here we can mitigate all that with fail to ban, and we're going to get that installed as well. This script is pretty neat. It was also created by Glenn. Here you'll see that you can configure it after 4 failed attempts. They'll be banned for 4 minutes. Here, let's see, 4 retries, 6 retries, 10 retries. You know what? The first one is fine after 4 retries. So we'll be selecting one. And there you go. We are officially complete with configuring a VPS with the UniFi controller configured with an SSL certificate and failed to ban. So we should be able to go to your URL and access the UniFi controller. So from here, you can give your UniFi controller a name, sign into your UniFi portal account, and continue with the wizard. But if you like the tutorial, go ahead, give me a thumbs up. If you have any comments or questions, please comment below, and I hope this helped you out. Thank you very much for following along.